Hello, everybody. How you doing today? We're here today. We're going to be talking about, the truth. Um,
Hello.
and you know, I mainly am going to probably focus here on a lot of what's gone down since October 19th, the release of MAM2. What we've seen here on my channel just since then, I think is very interesting. We're going to probably talk a little bit about Sean Atwood. I think Sean's brilliant and the way he talks about the court system, because he went through the American court system, and the way he talks about it is, I mean, he's not complaining like he got a bad shake or he was innocent and whatever. He just candidly talks about what he observed of the process as he went through it. And he just makes a lot of really, really somewhat humorous observations, but yet at the same time somewhat tragic. Okay, so can you guys all see me? I'm just curious, because for some reason when the image is coming through on YouTube, for me it's all garbled. So I just want to verify you guys are all able to see me. Looks like this is messed up. All right, let me do this. You guys can see me? Okay. Strange. Yeah, the video is really strange on my side, and the chat locked up. I couldn't even see you guys responding. Okay, great. Awesome. I'm echoing. No, but seriously, is it echoing? It shouldn't be echoing. Anybody else hear an echo, though? Is everybody hearing an echo? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so like I was saying, we're here today to talk a bit about the truth. And as I named it, the video here is knowledge is power. So arm yourselves with the truth. That's what needs to be done. And that's all that needs to be done here. In fact, Stephen Avery himself talks about truth wins. It's the best way to go. And the fact is, the truth in this case of everything that's coming out in this case, the truth is the state wasn't, they were not being above board. They were not conducting themselves in a transparent manner. They were not conducting themselves in an honorly manner. They were deliberately hiding things. They were deliberately holding back things. They were deliberately, just looking at the opportune moments they have chosen to do things in this case is just very telling that they are worried and hoping to avoid certain things and whatever by, and trying to appear like they're being forthcoming by handing things over, but the timing of handing certain things over, and you guys have heard me in the last couple of videos talk about that, like with the CD and stuff. For me, the timing of things and the way that they do things is interesting. I want to bring up another example today. I was talking with my good friend Mystic Jinx before this live today, and she was talking about something very interesting. And once again, the timing on it is extremely interesting. So we're going to talk a little bit. So I'm kind of not going to talk about it specifically yet. I'm going to be getting to that a little bit later. But that's what we're going to talk about. So a lot of things that just being honest, being truthful, that that we've learned kind of along the journey, that that we've all kind of picked up along the way here. So if we started October 19th, that's for me the moment I started going live on my YouTube channel. That is, for me, that was the big growth moment here at my channel, because I gained about 2,500 subscribers in about 2 months. So I gained about, I jumped from about 2,500 subscribers to 5,000 subscribers. There was a lot of attention, a lot of buzz and everything. And I had some interesting people on here on the channel that had some very interesting, observations and thoughts about the case. For instance, like Sean Atwood. I had Sean Atwood on. Timing is everything. I think there's something to that, T1. Absolutely. But I had Sean Atwood on here, and Sean is an interesting guy. He's he went through the American criminal justice system. He doesn't claim he was innocent. He obviously did wrong and whatever and everything, but he talks about the way the prosecution comes into court versus the way his lawyers come into court. And he said, sitting there as, the defendant, I mean, he was even looking kind of sideways at his own defense counsel because of the way that they argue things, and here's one of the ways he would sum it up. He would say, he goes, you get into court, he goes, and then suddenly you got the prosecutions arguing to the judge that I'm the worst thing since Satan, right? And just totally, putting up all these theatrics and everything about how I'm the most horrible thing that ever walked this earth, kind of, blah, 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 kind of whole thing, right? He goes, and then there's my own lawyer getting up and talking about how I'm like this saintly individual that, blah, 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 blah. He's like, and neither one of them are telling the truth. They're just telling opposing stories. And he said, and what it comes down to really is who has the most money to be able to put on the better show. And as he points out, it's usually most of the time, 98% of the time, it's the state or the prosecution that has the money to put on the better show, better than, because how many people are in the world have thousands and thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to give a lawyer to help them? Not a lot of people do. That's why they end up with public defenders, and our public defenders are woefully overworked. No matter where you go, almost, they're woefully overworked. They have too much of a caseload. It's hard for them to really give the attention to the cases that they need to, because they have so many, and that's it's what's happening. So take a look at the chat here real quick before I go on. Do you think Judge Suck will have an evidentiary hearing? Is Travis here? Oh, he is. There he is. Mark is interesting. Yeah, Mark is interesting. Mr. Hodnot is pretty interesting. My time is like a broken clock, wrong most of the time, and perfect twice a day. That's funny, T1. So yeah, I mean, talking with Sean, and I mean, and when I talk about Sean, I like to talk about his book, Unmaking a Murderer, because like I've said, I mean, and I said this in my lives that I was doing right after October 19th, it's, I think, a good place for newbies to the case who have just come off of watching MAM. I think it's a good place for them to start, because he really goes in pretty deep on all the things and circumstances in 1985 and all the stuff that was going on in 1985. He really goes in on that stuff and gives a really good picture of all that. And he even draws parallels between some of the odd occurrences in 85 and parallels to some of the things going on in 2005. So I always think that Unmaking a Murderer is a brilliant place to start for people. It's written very easy to understand language. It's not terribly long, but it's interesting. He mentions a lot of supporters that helped him and sent him information while he was writing the book and stuff. I'm mentioned in there as Erekose on Making a Murderer. Anyway, he just did this really good book that really, it's like I said, I've said this so many times and I'll continue to. It really, really gives you a really good in-depth picture of what was going on in 85 and how, how these types of things happen, right? And it's just a good place to start. And then from there, I would say, move on to the other books, like say, Jerry Buting's book Illusion of Justice, or John Farrak's Wrecking Crew, or whatever. I mean, some people actually like Michael Griesbach, even though he's arrived at the wrong conclusion, in my opinion. But some people like his books. Innocent Killer is one of those. But I don't know. Griesbach's But, Frack, Atwood, Ken Kratz's book, For What It's Worth, just if you want to go there and just see how he thought it was a creative writing session. I don't know. It's really weird. I'm about 4 or 5 chapters into Ken's book, and it's, bizarre. So all this literature, but the guys that are really given an in-depth look, I think, in my mind, are, Sean Atwood, John Farrak, Jerry Buting, and some of you may even be interested in Mr. Keller's book, Beyond Avery Road, because he goes into a lot of the political stuff. Now, I don't agree with everything that Mr. Keller says. I'll be first to tell you that right now. I don't agree with everything, but there are some things that he has researched pretty well that I think are significant. And, but yeah, don't necessarily hold with all of his opinions, just so you know. Anyways, so there's Sean Atwood. I like I've said, it's a good place to start, in my opinion, for newbies coming off of MAM. What's going on here in the chat? Worst lawyer I've ever seen. Caribbean released or sold. So there was the interview with Sean Atwood, which was really cool, and I'm actually probably going to reach out to him here real soon and have him come back on for an actual live session this time, and we can kind of take some people's questions live from the live chat. So I'm looking to talk to him about that. Me and Sean are buds, so he'll most likely be agreeable. We'll just have to kind of work it out. He usually has a pretty hectic schedule over there, but he's doing great work over there. So I encourage people to go over to his channel. He's now over 100,000 subscribers, and he's having some real success over there, really educating people about the prison system. He goes around to schools and educates kids about the prison system in the hopes of deterring them from, making the choices that will kind of land them in a life of crime. And, he's really active and really taking part and really doing good work to make society better, to make the world better, not just himself. And so he gets a tip of the hat from me for that, definitely. So I would love to watch his videos and comment on them. I hate to believe that the timing of Teach's death was strategically used to frame SA. However, with every stone we turn, everything right as the disingenuous acts of the state continue to abound, right? It's hard to believe they weren't playing games. It's hard to convince yourself somehow that it was all just harmless. It's because the more and more comes out, the more and more you realize that it was a concerted effort. So definitely. Let's see. You can get the Wrecking Crew with credits if you are a Prime member on Amazon. Why trust the state regarding the RAV4 being available for testing when they lied about the bones? That's a fair point, Lisa. You have to fast forward the King Kratz parts. I hate to believe the timing of your 16-year-old is smarter than most cops and judges. Right on. If you guys could throw up Sean Atwood's links, that would be awesome. Or maybe I could grab it real quick. Let me get out of here. The new T-shirt, the Wrecking Crew, sees all your disingenuous behavior. It seems like she was murdered to frame him. Thinking about the depth ridicule of that scenario will make your mind fail. Well, I think maybe she might have been just happened to be attacked when she was attacked, and that when they saw it, and I believe whenever they found her burned, wherever she may have actually been burned by who, that instead of making that the crime scene and pinning it to Avery and trying to pin it to Avery, they actually moved, in my opinion, the crime scene. And that's why the bones appear to have been moved. And that's why they're scattered all over the place, in my mind. I wonder if the county was watching Avery to get him on something and noticed TH. Yeah, I mean, well, they had a DOJ agent working that route before Teresa. Isn't that interesting? I mean, that's, odd. Do I think KZ will ever get the RAV? If she gets a retrial, yes, absolutely. I think she will. If it's in fact there, because at this point they make a good point. If they're lying about the bones, who knows if they're lying about the RAV? But I hope that the RAV is still there. And I hope that if this goes to retrial and it's necessary for her to test that to refute the prosecution, then I hope it's going to be there for her to do so. That's what I hope, obviously. But I understand why you asked, do I think she will ever? Because I understand your cause for concern and your cause for question. So, now moving on from Sean Atwood, obviously we had on, retired FBI agent, G-Man Steve Moore. And I got to tell you, I freaking love Steve Moore. That guy is awesome. And what I like about Steve is the fact that he is objective. He's objective. He's admittedly objective. Okay? And that means he's unwilling to say either way. He doesn't feel comfortable saying either way. And why is that? Well, the reason he'll give you is because the investigation is a mess. It's difficult to have any kind of faith in the things that anything found in this investigation and stuff because of the way it all appears and the way that they conducted themselves. And he made it very clear that what Fassbender and Wiegert did with Brendan was just off the charts wrong, off the freaking charts. He made no quarrel about that. Seriously, he truly believes that Brendan had nothing to do with it, and he clearly thinks that Fassbender and Wiegert are just way wrong, in the wrong. They should have known. They should have realized in the way that Brendan was answering them about things and the way that Brendan was conducting himself, that he was, when he was telling them that he was guessing and various things. I mean, there's just so much. He totally agrees that Brendan was completely railroaded and wronged by the system. But with Avery, he's unable to make a determination. And he explains that by saying that, I mean, one of the classic lines from the interview was when he said this. He said, a bad investigation doesn't mean that you necessarily got the wrong guy, right? So he's basically saying, yeah, a bad investigation is not really a great thing, but doesn't necessarily mean you got it wrong. But he says, if you did get the right guy, it's mostly luck, or it's more luck than anything, right? And our criminal justice system is not about relying on luck. That's not what our criminal justice system is about. It's not about luck. It's about truth, right? Look at the name of the video, right? It's about truth and facts, right? So, but yeah, he talks about the fact that the investigation was so poor, and he sees evidence favoring Avery, and he sees evidence that kind of doesn't favor Avery. And So he's really on the fence, and it's that objectivity in him that I like, because guilters could try to say, "Oh, well, he's just saying that because he's an Avery lover." Well, he's obviously not that. And if they try, and he's not on the guilty side either. He's not on either side. His opinions are completely objective. That's what I like about Steve. Whatever he says, it's all complete. He's on the fence essentially. So he's not on either side. He's not really in either camp. So when he offers you his opinion about the case, he's just saying, yeah, this is just messed up. This shouldn't be. That's wrong. They shouldn't have done it that way. That's not the way that we would do it when I would go to the U.S. District Attorney. When I would go to the U.S. District Attorney, I had to be mindful of certain things. Like I couldn't just, I wouldn't be able to just feed basically a confession to a kid. I wouldn't even be able to talk to a kid and interrogate a kid or whatever, possibly for a potential confession, without some kind of an advocate in the room. The U.S. Attorney General wouldn't even allow it. I would have to call them and make sure first before and he talks about having to do that, and how the bar with the U.S. District Attorney is set at a certain level, and how this area of Wisconsin is nowhere near that level. Seriously, nowhere near it. And so that what it comes down to with Steve Moore that I love so much is all of his opinions are objective and are not colored by either side. They're just straight up observations, and that's what I like about Steve Moore. It's awesome that he was able to do that interview with me, and I hope to do another one with him in the future. You know, I just to talk, not to talk about Stephen Avery's innocence or anything like that, but just to talk to him more about his investigation experience and issues that he sees in the investigation that are just his honest opinion, that it's why he has such great question, such, huge question and huge, issue with the investigation, and to kind of go through with him a little bit more of some of those issues and why he has them, and stuff like that. So I am hoping to do that, and hopefully that will be coming down the road. But yeah, everybody who hasn't seen my video with Steve Moore, hopefully my mods will go ahead and post the link for it here in the live chat in the next couple minutes. But it's a good one. It's awesome. Steve is this totally stand-up guy. He just the analogy he makes about when I ask him about switching from an evidence-based investigation to a suspect-based investigation too early, he makes a brilliant analogy about landing a plane, because he was actually training as a pilot at the time when I was talking to him, and he actually makes this analogy to flying a plane. He says, if you come down below the clouds and you can't see the runway, and or whatever, then you can't turn off the instruments and go visual. And so basically being on instruments is like evidence based, right? Or whatever. And so switching to visual is more like being suspect based, is kind of the analogy and the kind of parallels he was drawing. And it was a brilliant analogy. So anybody who hasn't seen the Steve Moore video, go check it out. It's really, really good. So enjoyable talking to him. He just and just listening to his just, even though he doesn't necessarily have an opinion about Stephen Avery's guilt or innocence, just listening to him talk about the investigation was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks, guys. You guys got it. There you go. Let's see here. Our justice system is about keeping the poor and downtrodden under the thumb. Sometimes it does seem that way. Let's see here. Got a lot of weird stuff going on in the chat. Always seem to follow certain people's. Some days you just can't escape, eh? Let's see. All right, so obviously Oh, funny. I was about to. Hi, Rubber Ducky. How you doing? Good to see you, of course. So, obviously, we're going to be talking. We want to talk about truth, and that's what I feel like. Steve Moore is one of the guys that gives us that, and you can believe it's the truth because it's unbiased. He's not on either side of the fence. He's not in either camp. Anyways, so when we move on from there, we talk about some of the issues at hand in the case. Here, mainly recently, mainly what's going on now. You guys have all heard me talking about it recently. I mean, the way the state's disingenuous acts right now are, I mean, just amazing. They are just absolutely amazing. You guys get that Fallon handed over that CD to Zellner because he was trying to appear like the prosecution was trying to be forthcoming, right? I mean, that's the whole point of them trying to hand that over. They're trying to create that appearance. But look at when they handed it over. Look at the moment they chose to hand it over. It proves that they are disingenuous because of the time they chose. They waited until the motion for post-conviction relief, which it should have been a part of, right? They waited until that was denied by Judge Suckathis. And then once it was denied and she was appealing that decision, suddenly, oh, here, KZ, here's Zellner, here's this CD that was held in Tom Fassbender's personal custody for 12 years. Enjoy. Right? Right? I mean, choosing that moment, but I guarantee you the idea was to seem like they were being forthcoming. Okay, but choosing that exact moment, I truly believe that they didn't believe that the Court of Appeals would remand it. I think they truly believed the Court of Appeals wouldn't remand it, but the Court of Appeals did. The Court of Appeals did remand it. And so it ended up becoming part of the record anyway. So it's amazing because that's one time that the Court of Appeals, seemed to feel like there was something shady going on and wanted more information. Goes back to Judge Suk. Judge Suckathis basically does nothing. And so now that becomes part of the appeal, right? Now it's the bones. But that timing of waiting until after the motion is denied and she's starting the appeals process to hand it over is telling. It shows you how disingenuous the state is. It's making decisions like that on purpose and to this day. To this very day. Right? What's up, Jinxie? Let's see. Yeah, the timing is very telling, that right? I agree with you, Rubber Ducky. I mean, it's just choosing that moment to try to appear forthcoming, but choosing that moment to hand it over when it should have been handed over before, so it could be part of the motion for post-conviction relief instead of waiting until after. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just so obvious. It's just the proof of the disingenuous nature of the state. It's just absolute. Oh, Airedale lady, he's a guy that likes to come on here and heckle, and he's it's better to just ignore him, really. Because here's a stupid question: will Judge Sukowitz be presiding over the future circuit, or is there any way they can get another judge to come in? If they end up going back on appeal again, if Judge Suckathis does what she did with the CD on the bone issue. She'll just deny it flatly and send it right back to the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals can easily decide that they feel Judge Sukowitz is biased, and they can very, very easily then order an evidentiary hearing with another judge or something like that. They will have the ability to, at that point, when the appeal progresses, they will have the ability at that point to do so. I think Judge Sukowitz is proving right now just how disingenuous the state is. I mean, she's 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 tied in with a past case of Stephen Avery, where after both parties decided to drop the case, she wouldn't drop the case. She held on to it. Stephen eventually had to go to the Court of Appeals, and the Court of Appeals had to order her to issue the order in the case. And it was just, I mean, clear bias. So there's so many things in this case, that are just bizarre beyond measure, really. But yeah, Judge Suck at this definitely is not going to be on Steven's side. But yes, to answer that question, when the appeal actually progresses and stuff like that, the Court of Appeals will have the ability to put this all into the hands of another judge besides Judge Suck at this. And the fact that Fallon had it in his personal collection is very telling. Yeah, or actually, it was in Tom Fassbender's personal custody. Tom Fassbender's personal custody. It's like, what? Since when do agents of the state hold evidence in their own personal? Where was he holding it? I mean, I don't know. I made the joke after finding out about that. I called him Fassbender Storage Solutions LLC, right? Like it's just bizarre, dude, that he was holding onto it in his personal custody for 12 years. Like, afraid that Dean and Jerry might have been, because they were so diligent going through all the evidence lockers, that they might have found it if it was in evidence somewhere. So he held it in his own personal custody. And just all of this stuff just shows disingenuous nature. That's what it's showing over and over and over and over and over again. It's just, yeah, amazing. But anyway, if he takes my dog's poop, he could find anything from paper towels to chicken bones. Reminds me of the first case when Sherry Culhane held on to the hair DNA test in 2002 and made Steven sit another year. Yeah. It was a coaster for the Long Island iced tea. Let's see here. Situation, shaking my head. He was holding it in his keister. Yeah. Let's see here. So corrupt, it's crazy. Yeah. Had enough of this. Let's let these boys go. We all know the truth, right? Oh, well, we're trying to get there, but we try to do it through the court systems and, in a civilized way. And, Nancy Grace. Oh God, Nancy Grace is just, look, every once in a while, Nancy Grace does some good work. Like, what she did with the Chase Masner case. She really did great work in doing some investigating reporting, and she got some information that helped the cold case unit in the area where Chase was suspected to have been murdered get at it, and she helped that family find closure and bring the guy who did it to justice. And so I will say that sometimes Nancy Grace actually is good, but most of the time she's not. In fact, talking about the journey along the way, let's talk a little bit about Nancy Grace. About a year after MAM came out, a new reporter appeared on the scene. She was really cool. Her name was Lee Egan, and she was friends with my good friend G. I hope to have G on the channel here real soon, hopefully, by the way. She was good friends with my friend G. The the thing is that she was, so this person Lee Egan came on Facebook. She was getting, Gina, G and me and a lot of our friends and everything to follow her on Twitter and all this stuff. Well, eventually she went to work for Nancy Grace. And we didn't hold that against her at first. But eventually at one point she issued an article where she basically just tore Brendan a new one, just basically saying he was guilty and all that, and she was drinking the Tom Fassbender Kool-Aid basically, and I was just like livid, absolutely livid. Like, okay, yeah, you're gonna drink the Tom Fassbender Nancy Grace Kool-Aid now. Having said that, I was very disappointed in Lee Egan, but for those of you who might be interested, she actually does do some good work. She helps find missing children, young adolescent kids that go missing, and she works hard to try and find that. She helped in the Chase Masner thing. My friend G and her were pitching it to Nancy to do something, and Nancy eventually did do some. She did an interview with the guy who was suspected of doing it, and a lot of things came from there. So, like I said, she sometimes does some good work, but most of the time she is a biased, prosecution can do no wrong because she's an ex-prosecutor. She basically feels the prosecution can do no wrong pretty much in any case. She's, I have serious issues with Nancy Grace, but every once in a while she gets it right. That's all I'll say. Well, I already said earlier when you brought this up, Lisa. Okay, so let me just go on Lisa's comment here for a second, folks. Lisa brought up earlier about how can we trust that the state still has the RAV4, right? And I did mention that, yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. I'm going to say it again right now, hopefully. But Lisa's actually, so just so that everybody gets the, whole thing on this. Considering everything you're saying, why do you believe that the state is being honest about the existence of the RAV4? And the blood evidence that was found was misidentified and convicted Stephen. So Lisa's saying that how can we trust that the state has the RAV4 at all? And has preserved the blood evidence or whatever, right? And it's a fair point. If they're lying about the bones, then they could easily be lying about this too. So it's a fair point. But I imagine that car is sitting somewhere in an underground storage somewhere. But if it's not, if it's been gotten rid of, then that's just yet another violation of statute, right? And maybe that's what it's that's what's going to happen is we're just going to continue to ring up a bunch of violations of statute where the state of Wisconsin has improperly gotten rid of or disposed of things and things like that. So I used to like her, but she got too commercial. And the blood in the RAV is on the swab, so they don't need that. It wouldn't be no good. No, but they do need to, because they need to swab everything around the engine compartment. If there was 1.9 nanograms of Stephen's DNA on the hood latch back in 2005, then there's probably still a bit of trace, DNA on the hood prop or the battery cables or the hood release inside the cab. There's probably, some of that, the 1.9 milligram leavings or nanogram leavings. There should still be something left of that 1.9 nanograms, I would think, for them to trace. And if they don't find Stephen Avery's DNA anywhere else but on the hood latch, then that would be a problem. What's up, Mr. Capaldi? Hey, at least you made it here, buddy. One green, one blue. Let's see. KZ said that the RAV was safe in her Q&A, so I believe her until otherwise pointed out. Good point, though, Lisa. I still got to believe in what KZ says. We need to hire James Bond to sneak in and take photos of the RAV. Just peed me off when she was talking about Steven. She has no clue how much the world has missed out having so much having such a good man locked up for so long. How can one trust Sheriff Mark Wiegert? You can't. He's a child abuser. Let's see. The state is shouting in their pants. Let's see. Never even thought of the very good point. Feel you on that one. KZ says it's there, but did she get it? Did she get in close enough proximity to the rat? I don't know. Like I said, that remains to be seen. How do we know they didn't swap the blood swabs from Stephen's vehicle? When the state is getting rid of the evidence, it is also very telling. Also, why would it matter to the state enough to break the law? Right? Why would they be motivated to do that? I mean, obviously, these individual players, you know, it's like Juan Tescrew brought up. I don't know if you guys watched some of the lives that he was on Paul Capaldi's channel recently, and Juan did a live on his channel recently, but he was talking about why would these individual players take any risk at all? It's the state's money. Why would they care? It's the state's butt on the line, not theirs. And what it would take something significant for them to step in and put their own neck in the noose or to put their own butt on the line, right? So he points that out too. And yet here we are seeing this disingenuous, behavior from these agents of the state, and it's not just one thing or two things. It continues. I'm going to show you something else new today. That's just odd. The timing of it is just like, what? It's just like, what? It's just bizarre. It's as simple. Who wants to leave the rest, right? I think they don't want to hand over the RAV because it has evidence that could exonerate Steve. That's very, very likely possible, in my opinion. Like the fingerprints that were never identified of the broken light. Yeah, they are desperate. And their desperation shows in their attempt to spin this, right? Their attempt to spin this in that Kathleen Zellner is delaying the appeal and she is dragging it out and it's all Kathleen Zellner's fault, right? I've been talking about this the last 2 nights. So I'm going to briefly say it. Look, it's not Kathleen Zellner's fault. She didn't hold the CD for 12 years in her own personal custody. She didn't choose right after the motion for post-conviction relief was denied and she was starting an appeals process on that to hand the CD over to herself. She didn't do that. That was a state. She's not the one that chose to hand the bones back to the hall box. She's not the one that chose to hide that from Stephen's appellate attorneys. She didn't choose to do any of those things. None of those things are her. Not one. She didn't even remotely have a tiny hand in any of those decisions. She is completely removed from any of those decisions. And those are the decisions that are delaying this appeal. It's the decisions of the state. And it is just ballsy, in my opinion, that they attempted to spin it the other way, that this was KZ delaying. It's them. They are their own worst enemy right now because of because of their own actions and the way that they conduct themselves. Anyways. This case is out of time, like the actors missed their cues. Yeah. Have I got my passport yet? No, I don't. Hopefully Monday or Tuesday, Mr. Capaldi. Eunice is asking. It didn't come yesterday, so I don't have it yet. So I'm hoping Monday, Tuesday. Why are they allowed to refuse KZ testing? I'm not sure. You know what? That's a question for Travis Bean. Let's save that. It's going to be better for him to answer. I thought I heard something like that. True. We all want that one, don't we? I think the state plays hardball as a rule to make it hard to break the system. I think they feel they are protecting it. I have seen this in other cases, and prisoners I've worked with told me that. Prisoners I've worked with in other cases told me that, right? For sure. That's why we that's why we like the Cozenator. I'd love to see you get Sean on here as soon as you can. Sean Atwood is great. I will. I'll talk to him. Him and I are buds, so he'll most likely be agreeable to it. Join the Wrecking Crew. Hey, Mystic Jinx, if you're still here, Jinxie, join the Wrecking Crew. Would love to have you in there. I'm looking well today, less harassed. Am I? I don't feel any less harassed. I still feel stressed out. I still don't have my passport. I'm still, I don't know. Jinx, they left a link for it. Denise Rainey, right there. It's a link. And it says Discord. That's an invite to it, and then you can go and set up a mystical Jinxie profile on Discord, and then you can join the conversation in there. I'd love to have you there. Thank you so much, Steve Watts. Thank you. You're very kind, sir. Hey, no worries, Paul. I was, no, I'm happy to ask. It's just funny that Sharon was saying I seem less stressed. I guess that means I'm getting better at hiding the the turmoil beneath the surface, because I'm stressed out about that passport. I'm hoping it's going to be here Monday, Tuesday. And as soon as I have that thing in my hand, I'm going to be like, all right, okay, all right. No, anyway, seriously though, yeah, I am kind of stressing on a few things, but anyway. Thank you, Being Green. Thank you. You've never invited me because I'm a distraction. Carry on. Get the app. Yeah, the app is good on your phone. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little thing. It's cool, It's so we can go in there. There's various chat rooms about different kind of topics and stuff, so you can talk about the case. Oh, by the way, everybody, Ziggy is trying to help me out with kind of pulling together some of the advertising kind of ideas we had for Stephen and Brendan at the rally. So if anybody who might be interested in helping us out with that, we're trying to figure out like the trucking companies that are in that area that we could talk to or ask about putting letting us put maybe magnets on the side of their trucks for maybe that weekend of rally, and letting us do that. So if there's people there on the ground in Wisconsin who could help us with the planning of that, please go into the Discord rally chat. There's an actual chat for rally chat, and go in there and let Ziggy know, because she's trying to coordinate this stuff. And we're also looking to possibly do a billboard at rally time. So anyways, if you guys can help out with that, it'd be great. Awesome. Everybody's welcome over in the Wrecking Crew. Obviously we're not, so okay, back to the chat here. Thank you so much, Chloe. Thank you. You're very kind. Thank you so much. On the fence, there's no bigger distraction than me. Respect your input, Paul. Love your content. Let's see. Cook JB Hunt. I can name some more, Ziggy. Well, yeah, but we want to concentrate on making sure it ends up on trucks in that area of Wisconsin. This is the tricky part, right? We want to make sure it ends up on trucks that are in that area of Wisconsin that weekend. So if we go to JB Hunt and it, I mean, you understand, if you try to make magnets for trucks all over the country, it's going to get pricey. But what we're trying to do is target that area, and if we can figure out a way to do that, that's what we're trying to hopefully do. So if you guys understand what I'm getting at there, I hope. Let's see. Is your Discord the same as Rubber Duckies, or is it separate? Mine's the same as Rubber Duckies. we created the Discord community kind of thing first, and then there's been a couple other segments that have segmented and started their own, which is great. You know, I like it where everybody has a place that they go that they feel the most comfortable, and hey, I'm all for it as long as you guys are still supporting Steven and Brendan. I love it. So yes, it is very much the same as Rubber Duckies. There's also another one called Avery Road. For those of you who might be interested, find out which one of the communities better suits you, and then get in and start digging into the evidence and the documents, and trying to support Stephen and Brennan, wherever you go to do it. I love you. So hey, let's see here. Is there a link? Is there like a GoFundMe billboard cost and so on? We could attempt to pool money for it to pay for a billboard or something. We can talk about that as we get closer to rally, of course. And like I said, we can go into the rally chat and Discord, and we can toss around these ideas. Like I said, Ziggy's there trying to coordinate it. So yeah, absolutely. And anybody who's on Rubber Duckies Discord is welcome to come over and talk about the rally stuff. I had Brandon Maddox on, and these ideas he had. These are kind of ideas he had, and he totally the first time when he came on, he talked about it was him and Rubber Ducky that were having a chat and talking about it, and we're kind of coming up with these ideas. So. If if everybody wants to come over and talk to it and rally chat over in mine, or if you want to set up a place over in Rubber Duckies where we can all go over there to talk about it, however it wants to get handled. So I'm all for it. Like I said, wherever you go to support, I'm all for it. When you get to show the new evidence in court, can the judge have power to drop charges on SA? Sorry if this seems dumb. He could have power to drop charges on SA, but most likely that won't happen, because I would say they deemed there was enough evidence the first time to proceed to trial. They probably will again. Now, will Kathleen Zellner be able to argue and keep it from getting presented at trial in pretrial hearings and stuff like that and motions? Potentially, sure. Let's see here. Cobweb Afternoon. We each have a Discord channel. Yes, we do. You're aggressive. I liked it, Linda. Whoa. Oh, thank you, Emma G. Thank you. You're very kind. Oh, I'm a superhero even. I love it. Where's my cape? Thank you, though, Emma. Thank you. Thinking about going to the rally, but driving from Massachusetts. If anyone in the area wants to hop along with me, we could split gas. There you go. I have some smaller magnets that maybe we could use acrylic paint. This is why I need input. Okay. Absolutely. Like I said, everybody, feel free to go over there and help, with coordination on this. Rally is June 15th. Many YouTubers have their own Discord server. A lot, yes, they do now. So yes, there's probably several. I know Rubber Ducky has one. I know there's one called Avery Road, and I believe Purple also has a Discord server. So they have become quite the fashion. So, like I said, find the one you like and support Stephen and Brendan. But we need to find the billboard and the price. Let's see here. Vegas with 2 toddlers stuck. Brandon would love to come on again. And absolutely. I'm going to be having Brandon. I almost make that mistake every time, huh? I plan on having Brandon on again. He's awesome. And next time he's going to play "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd, because we were all having some confusion about Dark Side of the Moon the last time, and had we realized it's actually called Wish You Were Here, he actually knows that, and he would have played it. So anyway, we're definitely going to get to hear Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd next time he's on. But anyway, yeah, absolutely going to be having Brandon on again. He's a lot of fun, total professional. He's able to, he's just able to crank those tunes out right there. Just, it's impressive to watch. I'll tell you what, it's impressive. I love it. It's fun. I love having Brandon on. And he's touring around, folks. You guys can follow him if you guys are in the Tennessee area. I just saw today on Facebook here, he had a post up there on Facebook, and about an upcoming show, and he just looks like he's having such a fun time, playing music and living life and everything. I just love it. So if you guys want, go check that out. Check him out. He's Brandon Maddox on Facebook, and or he's on Twitter. You probably see it on Twitter too. So it's Be Mad Music, at Be Mad Music on Twitter. But anyway, go check him out. He's great. He's awesome. And his wife Meredith is just awesome too. She's absolutely awesome. And you guys may have seen the performance of Jackson that they did on my live last weekend. It was brilliant. I had seen their upload to their own channel where they did Jackson, and it's just brilliant. Watching Meredith do that song and the way she does her facial expressions while she's singing and stuff is just, oh my God, it's the best. It's so awesome. Anyway, so he's really, really entertaining guy. Go over there, check him out. Stacy Seabrook, also very entertaining guy. Go check him out, guys. He has now been posted on Zellner's website. She put him on the website. Note to Zellner. Don't mean to criticize Miss Zellner, but note to you here. Stacy writes songs about Stephen and Brendan. So I did notice you put it up that he writes songs inspired by Stephen Avery. I would just say that you probably maybe should have added and Brendan Dassey to that, because if you go listen to Something's Going On, kind of less about Stephen and kind of like all about Brendan. So anyway, just a note to Miss Zellner. Sorry, no disrespect intended. Anyways. I wish you were there first a little taller. Okay. I'll get with you on Discord. I'll have to get I will have to get to know Discord. I actually have a bit of a tutorial that might help you, Jinxie. You don't need a cape. You have a brain and a heart, and you're not afraid to use them both. I could only hope if my child is in the same situation, you would be on their side. Well, thank you so much, Lisa Brady. That's very kind. Meredith is awesome. Yeah. Yes, finally alive in my time zone. Great work, Erekose. Your YouTube channel is head and shoulders above the rest. Keep doing what you do. Thank you so much, Andy G. I appreciate it. I do. Really do. Thank you. Erekose, I can Facebook later, and I'll ask you some questions about Discord. Sure, you got it, Jinxie. You know how to reach me. Let's see. She's a doll. I have a strong feeling that Judge Sukowicz will not recuse herself. Yeah, well, yeah, I agree with you. I think she's going to stick in there and try to stick it to Stephen Avery as long as she possibly can. So I think you may be right about that. Any new subs? This is where it's at. She was so nervous. Let's see, I have a strong feeling. Because I read a tweet a couple weeks ago where he said overturning Stephen's verdict with prejudice would be just a solution, or would be just the solution, or something similar. Where he said overturning Stephen's verdict with prejudice would be just a solution. I'm not sure if I'm understanding what you're getting at there, Lloyd. But we can talk later. I know how to reach you on Twitter, buddy. So true. Many forget Brendan, and it is sad. Poor guy can't catch a break. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I noticed it right away. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I read it and I go, oh, she left out Brendan. Sorry, KZ, but it's just the way I'm wired. Brendan is the thing in this case that cries out. If it wasn't for Brendan, I wouldn't have probably, I don't know how much I would have spent. I don't know how much time I would have spent looking into this for Steven, honestly. But because of Brendan, I spent a great deal of time looking into all this, and now I believe that they are both innocent. But that's not where I started on Steven. I was very much on the fence with Steven, even after watching MAM. That's why I laugh when guilters tell me, "Oh, you watched the documentary." Yeah, well, if that's all I did, I'd still think that Steven might be, I'd still be a lot closer to thinking he was guilty if that were the case. Thankfully, I didn't. I dug into the documents and went a bit further. Thank you so much, Jenna Gibson. Thank you. You're very kind. Very kind. Support for Steven and Brennan. Have a Dr. Pepper on me. Thanks for all you do, Erekose. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. And you're welcome very much, Jenna. Very much. Let's see. I can see at Erekose head's getting bigger. Oh, really? Is it? It's kind of big already. Hopefully, I don't want it to get any bigger. It's kind of already, Anyway. It's like a lot of your tweets and Twitter I follow. Yeah, I follow Lloyd on Twitter too. He's great. Brendan's case will fall apart after Stevens finally does. I believe that's probably true. For the life of me, I'll never understand why or how anyone would be a judge and stand in the way of justice. Awful. Absolutely. They take an oath. Absolutely. Exactly. Brendan is the saddest case. Yeah. Tell us about the control question. Okay, here's what I'm going to say about the control question. I will be on Mr. Capaldi's channel tomorrow, folks. If you want to hear me go off on my control question rant, tune into Mr. Capaldi's channel tomorrow. Lots don't know about Steven being innocent, guilty, but mostly everyone agrees Brendan's innocence. That's very true. That is very true. You guys are promoting diabetes with all the Dr. Pepper donations. For me, let's see. For me, guilty or not, the process was corrupt, and SA deserves a new fair trial. I believe he deserves a new trial. Absolutely. I'm already on that page. I mean, I believe he deserves a new trial. Chloe Langford, hi, Erekose and friends. Wouldn't it be preferable if Judge S denied evidentiary hearing so that the COA takes over and hopefully eventually Judge S gets in trouble? Well, just let things play out the way they're going to play. If Sukowitz gives an evidentiary hearing and it pans out in Steven's favor and whatever, he gets a new trial, then great. If it doesn't, it goes back to the Court of Appeals anyway. She's going to appeal it anyway. And then the Court of Appeals will, at that point, send it back to a different judge. That's what will happen. So just let every avenue play out. Just let every avenue play out. That's right. I get it. People want to jump to the end. They want to jump to this. They want to jump to that, but don't. You want the full kind of play out of the entire process so that it's all taken in, right? It's important. I think it's, I know people want things to be done and final. I get it. But it's important to make sure it gets done right. Timing, it's like T1 was saying earlier, timing is a big deal. And so letting things play out and take their course, it's important. I know how it feels to be impatient about this stuff. I know I get all that. But yeah, we just gotta be patient. Brendan didn't confess. Brendan simply played a game of repeat. Absolutely. Back for whatever time is left. Hi, Rhonda South. Always love watching. Always love watching these. Hi, Meredith Tooley. Hey, what's up, Paul? Yeah, man, we're gonna get as many people over there to talk with Jerome as possible, buddy. They're denying him his civil rights as an American if they do not give him a new trial. Is Allie Apperson here? Haven't seen her. I don't think I've seen her. Can't wait till SA is found not guilty and the Keystone cops have to go search for the real killer. Yeah, except they've already, because they didn't do it right in the first place, they may never ever find out who the real killer was. If it's not Ryan, it's going to be somebody that knew Teresa at random and had a crush on her and had an unhealthy fixation on her. That's just my opinion. You and Dieter spent a lot of time on this, and when we appreciate you. Oh, thank you so much, Larry. Thank you. I do this because I just want as many people out there to know as possible. I don't I don't want this people like falling for the state and that spin they tried to put on this, that it was like, for instance, that it was KZ that was holding this whole thing up. It's a ridiculous statement. It's them. It's the state and the actions of the state that is causing this to be held up. And it's so disingenuous. And I think people need to know these things. I think people, the random public hears little, whatever on the news clips or whatever on the news, and they form opinions from that. And just hopefully by me sitting here doing what I continue to do, and like Rubber Ducky doing what she continues to do, and like Perplexed, doing what she continues to do, and all those of us out here continuing to talk about the bad faith and the disingenuous nature of these, what happened in these cases. Through that, we will hopefully pick off a couple more people and get them informed enough to know when they see the state's BS. And if we're building it a brick a day, or if we're building it 3 bricks a day, I don't care if each one of us is getting 1 new person a day or whatever, however we're doing it, however many new bricks a day we're getting, as long as we're pulling in a couple new bricks a day, hopefully by getting somebody else informed that didn't previously know all the facts and just saw what they were seeing in the news and developed a very poor preliminary opinion, we're hopefully going to be able to help correct that as much as possible. But it is a bit like a brick at a time kind of thing. It's, but we're getting there, hopefully, and that's the idea. We got to continue to spread that awareness. We got to continue to try to get those people who aren't informed to have some awareness, so that they can continue to point out, so that there's just more people out there that can continue to point out when they see BS coming out of the state of Wisconsin. I guess so. Let me tag her. It's a long game, but not a game at all. Yeah, so sad. Hey, Sharon. The law is funny. SA being acquitted doesn't necessarily mean that BD is in the clear. Yeah, I know what you mean on the fence, but I think it would create further question. And on top of everything that's already gone down with Brendan, I think that case is already wobbling and shaky as hell. So, personally, when is the rally? June 15th. Hi, Ali. These cops will be looking with OJ on the golf course. County, not state, I believe. Fallon is the state's assistant attorney general. He is on the hook. That's the state of Wisconsin for me. That's the DOJ. Tom Fassbender being from the DOJ, and Josh Redant talking about DOJ agents coming back to him and bullying him about his story about the fire. DOJ is Wisconsin law enforcement, not Manitowoc law enforcement. So you say tomato, I say tomato? Maybe, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Anyway. Someone was asking me for your YouTube, for your videos on YouTube. I directed them to your page, but wondering if you mind if I share the link. Always share the other YouTubers' links. Whenever you have a question with that, just always share the other YouTubers' link. Did you watch Dr. Phil episode the other day? It made less sense in 1 minute. Unfortunately, most people here in Wisconsin only believe what they hear from the media. It's sad that a second trial would be tough because of this. Yeah. Erekose and Dr. Phil. Yeah, I doubt it. Um, Brendan's working on another tune too to try and further awareness. Yeah, I know he's working on another one. He was telling me that he kind of already had another one in the works. Um, that's going to be a little more. It's going to be a little bit more like, if I understood him correctly, it's going to be a little bit more transitional, where it's going to be less like mentioning, everything about the case, and it's going to be like more a little bit more ambiguous, so that it can be catchy, and that kind of thing, and people can you know you know not feel like they're being something's being crammed down their throat or something. So he's going to make it a little more, you know I don't know, it's going to be interesting. But I love Brandon's work. He did great work. He failed it. I freaking love that song. Also, undermining the verdict of the jury by using Denny law. Undermining confidence in the verdict. Absolutely. Those of you who've been watching Travis and I doing the review of the motion for post-conviction relief, you know that in our slideshow, we kind of pound on that. Undermining the confidence in the verdict. That is the whole thing. The goal is a new trial, and all that stuff. So yeah, we've been hammering those things at Rubber Duckies 100% right about that. BS coming out of the state of Wisconsin now, and now. Yeah, right. Uh, I'm also turning them on to Erekose, making a murderer, trying to spread the love. Oh, thank you, Rhonda South. Brandon and I wish we could be at the rally. I hope to be online live at the rally. Yeah, that's what I was asking Brandon to do, is if he could at least go live on his YouTube channel while we're at rally, and I can possibly put him through my phone. I can tune to his YouTube channel and then put that through my little Bluetooth speaker, and we could kind of listen to a couple songs, or we could have it over by the salvage yard. Jamie's going to be bringing a rig out there, an audio rig out there, so we can do it maybe over by the Avery sign and have a little impromptu concert. Stacy, at this moment in time, says he's going to be there, so if he's there, we're going to hopefully do a little impromptu concert somewhere. We're hoping in front of the Avery sign, but I still have to check with the family, make sure that that's going to be okay with everybody, because I don't ever make decisions about the Avery property on my own. I always talk to the family first. So, but we are kind of planning for something along those lines, so it should be fun, and hopefully we can pipe Brandon through Jamie's rig that he's going to be bringing. So, anyways, that should be fun, and so everybody can look forward to that. You're a great PR pro, Rhonda. I'm in Wisconsin too, and I know what you mean. Some either think they're guilty or they don't care, right? Hopefully 2020 we can be at that rally. Great idea. Lots of very good info here. Let's see, how did they know that they didn't need to treat others as suspects unless they were guaranteed the Denny law as the investigation started, right? So whenever there was money to be made, Dr. Phil will be there. Yeah, right. Hope so, Meredith. Let's see here. Look, that wasn't my idea. Somebody else said it, and I was just saying it was funny. I've got to go, but I want you to know how much you mean to me. Your passion and your drive is so inspiring. If I had 10% of whatever you got, I'd be okay with that. Well, thank you, LL Grace. Let's see here. Totally just had a Matrix experience. Whoa, oh my. Dr. Phil isn't into truthing. F him, right? Glad to hear you're doing better. Let's see. Brennan is amazing. Absolutely. I've heard you say that the Denny law has been changed. Uh, as far as I know, the Denny law hasn't been changed. Uh, the Denny law hasn't been changed, but the Wisconsin Supreme Court did recently change the way that Brady is interpreted. Sorry. So I think that might be what you're talking about, Steve. Wiz? Hello, my best friend knows more about this case than most doubters just because I watch you so much, Erekose, and he is one that could care less about this stuff like this, and he wants Steven and Brendan free. Awesome. That's cool. I'm looking for agents right now. Thanks. I told him you really liked Man Up. I did. I mean, it's a great one. Let's see. Did Erekose have a dumbbell hanging from his nose? No. What if I told you Erekose did have a dumbbell hanging from his nose? Would you disagree? No. Thanks for that, Lisa. I always share your videos on Twitter. Hope to help share your amazing lovingness. Oh, thank you so much, Sharon. I know Sharon calls me her wee star. First time she called me a star, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." You know, I mean, hey, you know, and everything. And so then she started calling me her wee star. It was funny. So every time she messages me, she almost every time she calls me her wee star. It's hilarious. And you know, because she's Scottish, you know, we is I love it. And she sends me voice messages. I love it. I love hearing her talk to me with that Scottish accent. It's awesome. What most guilters always mistakenly state is those of us that believe SA and BD haven't looked beyond MAM. Excuse me, but some brilliant minds discovered a lot of the state's past dirty laundry. Exactly. I mean, they're deliberately, you know, not they're deliberately ignoring the things that make the state look like a bunch of freaking asses. You know, they're just blinders. They don't want to see that. Thanks. I passed the compliment along. We appreciate all you do as well. They'd care if it was them sitting in jail for something they didn't do. Yeah, that's true. I will call you soon. Let's see. Catherine Zeta Jones can play KZ in a movie. What is the change with the Denny law? It will help. Will it help or hurt the case? It will help. It's going to help with the interpretation of the way the CD, whether or not it's a Brady violation or not, that's going to now be interpreted differently. So it works. It's in Stephen's favor. The new Supreme Court decision regarding Brady it's going to work in Stephen's favor. Who's a truther here? I love their questions. Always brings intriguing thoughts. I don't want it to be done quickly. I was just wondering if Judge S can get in trouble for ignoring obvious injustice. I don't know. There's so much immunity in the system. I don't know. I don't know how much danger she might actually be in of that. Would like to see her have some kind of consequence for being so obstructive, personally. He passed up the stroke joke. I thought that was a good one. I don't know. I already criticized Zellner today once because she didn't put Brendan in the post on her page. So I think I'm gonna stay away from that one. For those guilders that say we haven't looked beyond MAM, tell them to go check out the library, Rubber Ducky, Stephen Avery files. There you go. Go check out Rubber Ducky's library. I wish Colburn, Link, Wiegert, and Faxbender could go to jail. Would be nice. All right, so I'm going to show you guys one last thing here. All right. Another, just for me, another piece of disingenuosity, right? You guys know how much I love that word, right? Disingenuosity, disingenuousness, you know, any kind of, you know, variation on disingenuous, right? Anyway, so we're going to show you something a little funny here. Now, a lot of you probably have heard about the bit of feces and hair that was collected from the quarry, right? And you know, there's something very interesting. But before I get to that, let me just show you guys a few things here. What happened to oh crud. All right, hold on. Okay, so this is basically a shot of the Avery salvage yard, and this feces with hair that I'm talking about was found right here. Okay, here's Steven's trailer. Here's the road coming in off of Avery Road. This is this is Avery Road over here. This is the business basically area right here, and so here's Barb's, or what was Barb's house at the time, Barb's trailer at the time, right? And so here's where this feces and hair was found, over here and right there, basically, right? So now that's like whatever. Okay, some evidence was found, but what's interesting about it for me, and I was talking to Jinxie about this beforehand, and what I found interesting was, let's see, was it that one? Yeah, so it's this one here. So this is from the ledger, you guys may recognize, right? And right here it's talking about 8696, right? Feces with hair, okay? That was found, okay? And it shows the whatever, the coordinates of it, right? Shows, and then let's see. So then, okay, so not on this one, but on the next one, hold on. So what this shows right here is in the ledger, number 4, right? Just to show you guys again, right? Number the just this right here is saying he's making an entry in reference to item number 4, right? And then if we go back, we see that the item number 4 is the feces with the hair, right? Okay, everybody's on board with that, right? Okay, so now we go back, and down here, item number 4. You see this, folks? On 4/9 of '07, 2 days after trial, 2 days after the trial ends, Officer or Deputy Hawkins hands over feces and hair to MTSO Officer Dave Remaker. Now, why on earth that would be happening 2 days after trial is interesting to me. That is very interesting to me. Because why in the heck would he have any need to take that out of evidence 2 days after the trial ended? That is just very, very fishy to me. So that's all I wanted. I just wanted to show you all that. Um, very interesting. Just like all my chats with Jinxie, they usually end up being very interesting. So, whoops. All right, so now I can see the chat again. So, It's a worldwide phenomenon. Let's see. Absolutely, truthers are worldwide and all on the page. It is listed as feces. Whereas there is other listed as dog feces. That's true. She's absolutely right. Jinxie's absolutely right about that. Why would Stephen break into his own house? All of those. It was KK skin cells. Let's see. Stayed there to this date. Feces. When a person dies, they expel bodily fluids and feces. So yeah. So why was it? Why? Okay. So I mean, if this feces was material, why was it not at trial? And why is it being taken out of evidence 2 days after the trial ends? That's my question here. Not whether or not. I'm not here to split hairs as to whether it was this feces or that feces or whatever. I'm here to ask, why is Remaker going in 2 days after the trial's over and removing that from evidence? And where did it go after that? Right? That's what I'm wondering. Where did it go? Disingenuosity. The act of being disingenuous. Anyway, that's basically how I feel about that. It's, all this fecal chat makes way for a lot of corny, crappy jokes. Yeah, I suppose it does. Let's see, disposing of evidence again. Yeah. I don't know what they did with this feces in the hair. I really don't. Did they test that? I don't know. KK's in the outhouse, disposing of evidence again. And I thought no, okay, so Jinxie says there was no testing on it, and I thought that his trial ended in mid-March. Fecal matter contains DNA. Yes, it was feces or human, because when people die, yes, exactly. That is very shady, saving evidence like the CDs. Fecal matter contains DNA. Absolutely. Hi, Linus Knight. Let's see. I believe Teresa. I'm not a doctor, just a nurse. It was after Avery's trial, before Dassey's, not used at Dassey's trial. He put it in his desk. All this taco feces is making me crave some Taco Bell. Oh wow, poor Taco Bell. Let's see here. And it's Remaker of MTSO, exactly. Erekose sees the string. Conflict of interest office. Yeah, absolutely. Should have been tested if it was so important to remove. Absolutely. I agree. KZ probably has evidence of cops planting evidence. My thoughts exactly, Linda. Because they have more to cover up than they do to tell the truth. Teresa's probably not even dead. Well, I kind of believe she is. I'm not one to believe in that one. See, you act like you're surprised. The Keystone Cops could have done a better job. No, I'm just continuing to point it out. But I love it. Thanks, Andy G. But no, I'm just continuing to point it out. Let's see. It really is a shit show. Yeah, it certainly is. so I hope you guys enjoyed. That's the new bit that I wanted to talk about, showing the disingenuosity of the state. That's the whole bit with that fecal matter with hair, and them going and getting it 2 days after the trial ends, and then what? And then where'd it go? Where did it come back? Did he take it home because he was working on a crap Sunday? I don't know. Yeah, weird, odd, strange, bewildering. Anyways, yeah, so so I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Remember, the power, knowledge is power. Keep trying to educate people around you. You maybe don't need to hit them with the hardest stuff, but try to convince people on the things that are easy to convince them on, and get them enticed. And then once you got them kind of enticed, then you can start throwing some more of the advanced stuff maybe at them. Try to work people in. That's what I did with my boss, folks. And I worked on him for months, but I had been working on him in such a way that he ended up just watching that show, Return to Manitowoc, the Nightline or whatever it was, that Return to Manitowoc. And by watching that and watching what he saw Brendan there after the things that I had said to him, he came around. So, and that's what we can, don't try to beat people over the head with your opinion, but be unapologetic in your support. Certainly be unapologetic in your support. Arm yourself with the truth so that whenever you find yourself in a discussion, that you're armed with the truth and you never have to worry about somebody, calling you on any kind of BS. So arm yourself with the truth. It's important. It helps. Knowledge is power. Arm yourselves with the truth. Don't arm yourself with, disingenuosity. It's no good. It's no good. You don't want to be like the state, right? Anyway, so that was my main message today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Hope you guys all found this, to be fun and informing. And we'll see you guys next time. I may upload something later today, by the way, just so you know. But I'm still working on it, so we'll have to see what happens. But if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you.